Do you ever feel that no matter how much you make, it's never enough? Maybe you're stressed, living paycheck to paycheck, and you just can't seem to get ahead. It's exhausting, right? You work so hard, yet, but it feels like your finances are like sand sinking through your finger. It doesn't matter about how much money you make. The problem is how you manage it. The Bible calls this stewardship. It doesn't matter if you don't master this one thing, it does not matter how much income you have. It will never feel like enough. And before we even jump into stewardship and all of that, first let's talk about what it is. In the Bible, stewardship is essentially you being able to manage what you currently have, whether it's your time, your skills, your resources, meaning your money. Whatever you can manage right particular now, you manage it with the most diligency possible. And in the Bible, this is what it says in Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with little, the little they have right now, whoever can be trusted with what they have currently, they will be trusted with more. More will be added upon them. So let me ask you this. If you can't manage what you have now and you're asking for more, do you think God, I surrender to God. I believe that if I surrender to God, my assignment will surrender to me. So if you can't even manage what you have now, do you think God will trust you to manage more? Do you think He would see one of His kids already struggling with what they have currently, being able to manage it, and then being like, okay, I'm going to give them more. I'm going to dump more upon this person. Give them more stress. Since they can't even manage this, I'm going to give them more. So this is what the Bible has to say. If you can't be trusted with what you have currently, would God even want to give you more? Think about it. I'm not saying like, this is what I'm not saying. I'm not saying like, oh, you need to have a budget, you need to have this, you need to have this. No, it's about being a good steward. You need to be able to manage what you have properly. So if you're given $1 million, say if God's like, okay, I want to bless this person with money, I'm gonna give him $1 million. You're given $1 million. How would you allocate the money? Right? How would you allocate it in a way where you don't squander it? If you're given these particular skills, how would you manage them in the most efficient way possible to help as many people as possible? It's like you have a skill and you know what you're good at. You know exactly what you're good at. You can help a lot of people, but you're not doing so. How can you ask God to give you more and more and more if you can't even manage what He's given you now? Everybody, I'm telling you, everybody has amazing skills. Everybody's great at one particular thing that they can help people with. They have this skill inside them. They have this trait inside of them where some people, sometimes we ourselves can't recognize it, but outside people can recognize the skill inside of us. And that particular skill has been planted there by somebody. Whether it's God, whether it's you doing a particular task over and over and over again, and you just excel at it more than everybody else because God has planted that inside of you. Like, look at the talents. In the Bible, it talks about talents, right? One was given this many talents. Another was given more talent. Another one was given even more talents. The Bible, God wants you to manage what you have now so He can give you more. In terms of finances, when the person with one was given that one, he buried it into the ground. Like, oh, my God's going to be punishing me. He's a really harsh master, so I'm going to just put it in the ground and just leave it there. The second one, he went out and multiplied it, doubled it. The third one, who was given the most, he went out and doubled it as well. And when the master came and he saw everybody, he looked at that one person who had very little Didn't even manage that one properly. Had very little, was so scared to manage that he took it away from him and gave it to the person who utilized what was given to him and managed it accordingly to grow it, applied it, and was given more. To whom can manage very little, so this is where everybody should begin. In my life, this is what happened. I will share my testimony a little bit of what happened in my life. God told me, hey, if you want that next blessing, work on your finances. Manage your finances. Not create a budget, manage it. Budgeting is setting limits on things. I think management is more dynamic. It's more fluid. It's more dynamic. It's not setting limits on God. It's being dynamic. If this much is given, this is how it's all allocated. Boom, boom, boom. 10% goes here, 10% goes there. And we can go into that a little bit deeper. That's what manage it. This is what God said. Manage what you have now. And then I made the most amount of money I've ever made. And the next thing happened. Then the next thing happened. God said, work on your parents' finances. You're cool, you're set, you're working, you're not worried about money and stuff. Work on your parents' finances. Who's going to help them? I didn't want to jump into my parents' finance and teach them like, oh, do this and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, man. But I had an outside voice, quote unquote, a mentor, come into my life, look into my life and be like, hey, yeah, you should help them. It's just weird out of the blue when God was telling me to do that myself. And I put it off for so long, but he kept saying that. And then guess what? I did it. I did what God asked me to, was help my parents manage their finances. And then I made even more money, and I was able to buy a house for my family. And the third thing, I asked God, hey, I want my next blessing. This is the stage I'm in currently right now. God said, hey, if you want your next blessing, go into the marketplace, go into the body of the church and help them manage their finances. And guess what I did? So I went there and I told them, this is exactly what you need to do. This is what I told my parents. This is what I did myself to manage my finances. And I'm giving this to you because God has told me to give it to you guys. And I'm asking for my next blessing, my next breakthrough, whatever that may look like financially, in finances, relationship, anything. I am trusting in God because if I surrender to Him, my assignment will surrender to me. And that's what God said. He said, go work on theirs. It starts with management. Managing what you have so more can be put on top. Managing is the foundation. It starts with managing what you have, and then everything stacks on top, whether it's a skill. Some people are given skills of extreme vision for video production. Manage that skill. Take care of that skill. Use that skill for the next level. Use that particular one skill that you have, that God has placed in your heart. Use it to help people, and in return, they will help you financially or in any way, shape, or form. There's this particular skill that God has placed on your heart, and all you have to do is manage it. And just remember one thing. It all belongs to God. Everything belongs to God. We are just the vessel. We are the vessel that God works through. And then in terms of what I taught my parents about the management, the money management system that I have, not a budget. Budget sets the limits of money management. 10% goes to tithes. 50% of your gross income goes to expenses. 10% goes to the mind, meaning fueling the mind, meaning learning books, courses, growing, because I believe that the biggest growth you can have is putting the money into yourself and learning and growing and understanding more, like investing in mentors, all this to help you get to the next level. 10% goes there. 10% goes into your future, meaning it goes into the stock market. It goes into real estate. This is not financial advice. This goes into real estate. It goes into businesses. It goes into other assets that you can create. 10% goes into saving for things that you really want. Like, hey, I really want this car. So 10% goes there. 10% goes for you to spend on a monthly basis, meaning, hey, this is my fun money. I'm gonna go outside and have fun. And remember, in there, God will work on your heart and he'll manage it accordingly, because management is dynamic on where generosity has its play. And remember, at the end of the day, here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck. I'm giving you the tactics that you can use. All you have to do is start with management. Start with what you have, manage it as best as possible, whether it's your health, your relationship, your finances, anything. Manage it to your best ability. God will multiply this. Imagine this. God will multiply it. No more financial stress. No more worrying about your relationships. No more worrying about your health. If you manage what God has given you as of right now. These small changes today will lead to more blessings later down the line. And next, like, we'll have more videos where we'll talk about the growth phase. So there's a harvest phase. This is the management phase. This is a harvest phase. And then there's the growth phase. So many different phases, so many laws that there are. These laws that are written in the Bible, and I will share those all with you. And remember, move now, act with diligency. Move quickly. Do not wait. The longer you wait, the slower it happens. Move now, act now, just do it now. If you're listening to this video and you're still listening, do it right now. You know exactly in that one thing in your life that you need to do right now. Stop waiting. The longer you wait, the slower it becomes. The longer you wait, the more motivation you lose, the vision. You lose the vision, it becomes more and more blurry. Act now. Remember, stay blessed by the best. I'm here to help. Love you guys. Catch you on the next one.